Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment the story of a woman with no friend. She walks through the world as if in a fog, surrounded by a multitude of faces, but somehow they are all strangers. Her heart longs for connection, for a hand to hold, for someone who sees her, truly sees her. But she finds none. No companion, no confidant. Just silence. And perhaps in this silence she feels a void, a space where friendship should be. But what if I told you that this woman is not lost? That her journey, though it may appear solitary, is a profound dance of discovery, a return to something deeper than mere companionship. You see, we live in a world where we are taught that relationships, friendships, and connections are essential to our sense of worth. You are not complete without someone beside you, we are told. We seek approval, acceptance, validation, and in doing so, we surrender parts of ourselves, our true selves, to the whims of others. We project our fears and desires onto those we call friends, believing that in them we find what we lack in ourselves. But let us pause for a moment and ask, what is the true nature of friendship? The myth of friendship. Friendship, it's a word that resonates with warmth, trust, and a sense of belonging. We're all taught from a young age that friendship is one of life's most beautiful gifts. We've heard countless tales and watched movies that tell us friends are the family we choose. But let's pause here. Let's consider if that image is truly reflective of the friendships we experience. Could it be that friendship, as society defines it, is merely a myth? The idea of friendship is often built on ideals of loyalty, sacrifice, and unwavering support. We envision friends who will stand by us no matter the storm, who will always answer our call, and who will share in our joys and sorrows as if they were their own. Yet in the real world, friendships are far more complex. They ebb and flow, and they don't always look like the idealized picture we hold in our minds. Sometimes what we call friendship is simply convenience wrapped in the guise of camaraderie. When life is smooth, friends are near. But as soon as struggles arise, we find ourselves alone, searching for those who once promised to stand by us. This doesn't mean true friendship doesn't exist, but it suggests that perhaps friendship, as it's presented to us, is incomplete. Perhaps we are searching for a sense of completion in others, hoping that a friend will fill the spaces in our lives where we feel incomplete. When we rely on friendships to provide this sense of wholeness, we're setting ourselves and our friendships up for failure. We burden others with our unmet needs and disappoint ourselves when they fall short. As we examine this myth, we start to see the subtle truth: friendship isn't something we find in others alone. True friendship begins with the relationship we cultivate with ourselves. We must be willing to sit with our own silence, to know our own thoughts, and to build a foundation within that doesn't rely on external validation. Only then can we approach others not as a source of completion, but as companions who add to the richness of our lives. The myth of friendship tells us we need to look outward for connection, but perhaps the greatest connection we can seek is inward. Imagine if we each became our own best friend, if we spoke to ourselves with kindness, stood by ourselves during hard times, and encouraged ourselves to reach new heights. Imagine the strength we would bring to our relationships if we no longer looked for someone else to validate our worth, but instead knew our worth was inherent, unshakable, and complete. Friendship would no longer be a source of need, but a gift of shared joy. As we grow, we learn that some friendships drift away, and it can feel like a betrayal of everything we once held dear. But perhaps that drifting is not a sign of failure, perhaps it's simply growth. People come into our lives for reasons we may not always understand. Some teach us to love, others to forgive, and some remind us of the importance of boundaries. Each friend, whether they remain or leave, contributes to the journey of self-discovery. When we stop expecting friends to fit a mold, we allow space for authentic connections that transcend the myth and touch the essence of who we are. Let us not forget that life's most challenging moments are often navigated alone. It's in these solitary times that we learn our strength, that we find resilience, and that we discover who we truly are. Friendship, then, is not a myth to shatter, but an ideal to transform. It's an invitation to grow, to connect with others from a place of abundance rather than lack, and to appreciate each person's role in our lives without expecting them to be everything. So as we walk this path, let us redefine friendship. Let us seek relationships that celebrate mutual growth, honesty, and respect. Let us cherish the bonds that lift us up and learn from those that do not. The illusion of completion. We live in a world where completion is celebrated as the ultimate goal. There's a deep-seated belief that reaching the finish line is all that matters, that the day we achieve our ambitions or reach a certain status, life will suddenly transform into perfection. We envision ourselves basking in glory, finally at peace, because at long last we have made it. But what if I told you this concept of completion is nothing more than an illusion, a mirage that keeps us moving but is never truly attainable? What if life, in its essence, is never about the finish line, but rather the steps we take to get there? This is the message I want to share with you today, that there is profound beauty, growth, and purpose in the journey itself, not in the illusion of a perfect endpoint. Think about the countless stories of success that have inspired us: athletes winning gold medals, scientists making groundbreaking discoveries, artists creating masterpieces. To an outside observer, it seems that they've achieved the ultimate. But for those individuals, reaching these milestones did not signify the end. They often speak about the journey with more reverence than the destination. When you dig deeper, you'll find that every achievement opens the door to new challenges, new desires, and new paths. The gold medal is a momentary gleam, but what it represents: years of discipline, the sacrifices, the lessons, the sweat, and the heartache that is what truly transforms a person. In every success story, there's a hidden truth: the joy, the fulfillment, and the true achievement lie in the pursuit itself, not in the fleeting satisfaction of reaching the finish line. Life is a continual evolution, a series of transformations that push us to become better, to learn, to adapt, to grow. The illusion of completion would have us believe that once we get that promotion, that dream job, or that ideal relationship, our hearts will settle into unbreakable contentment. But the truth is that with every goal we reach, we're already looking toward the next. We are wired to seek more, to explore, to dig deeper into our potential. The illusion of a final destination can deceive us into thinking that someday life will magically become easy and complete. But think about this: if we had a definite end, a single point where we could say, "I am complete," what would drive us to wake up each morning and strive? Without the need to progress, without a yearning for something greater, we would stagnate. Our spirit would dull, and the fire within would slowly dim. This is why we must shift our mindset from achieving a state of completion to embracing the process of continual growth. Life is about unfolding, not arriving. It's about savoring each moment of discovery, each lesson, each step forward, and each step forward, and each step back. This journey is rich with experiences that shape us in ways we can't even imagine when we start out. The setbacks and challenges that we often perceive as obstacles to completion are actually the essential elements that mold us. They build our character, test our resilience, and refine our perspectives. Without them, we wouldn't be equipped to handle what lies ahead. We would lack the depth, the wisdom, and the fortitude that only come through experience. Our lives are like the flowing river, always moving, always changing, and always carving out new pathways. Imagine if the river believed it would eventually reach a point of completion, where it no longer had to flow. It would lose its purpose, its vitality. The river's purpose is not to reach an endpoint, but to flow and bring life to everything it touches along the way. Similarly, we are not meant to reach a state of finality. We are meant to keep moving, to keep learning, and to keep growing, because in that motion, in that journey, we find our purpose and fulfillment. Let us not be trapped by the illusion of completion, or allow ourselves to feel that life is only worth living once we reach a certain status or possess certain achievements. Instead, let us immerse ourselves fully in the present, in each moment, in each endeavor. Let us embrace the journey in all its nuances, the challenges that push us, the victories that uplift us, the people we meet, the passions we discover. When we do this, we begin to see that life is not about getting somewhere. It's about the richness of each experience and the depth of connection we create along the way. So I urge you to shift your focus. Stop chasing after the mirage of completion and start relishing the beauty of your journey, the beauty of solitude. In a world that never stops, where life whizzes by in a constant blur of sound, images and demands, we often overlook one of the most profound experiences available to us, the beauty of solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. It is not a barren space or an empty silence, rather, it is a place filled with our own unique thoughts, reflections, and the whisper of something deeper, something wise. The beauty of solitude is often misunderstood because society teaches us that to be with others, to engage in the outside world, is to live fully. But true fullness, true richness of experience, can only be achieved when we allow ourselves moments to be truly, comfortably alone. To embrace solitude is to invite ourselves into a relationship with the person who knows us best ourselves. In solitude, we have the freedom to listen to our own voices, untouched by outside opinion or societal influence. We get to sift through our own ideas, weigh our own dreams, and align our lives with our personal truths. It's in these moments of stillness that we begin to rediscover who we are outside the clamor of external demands. We peel back the layers of noise in expectation to uncover the core of our essence. This intimate dialogue with ourselves allows us to navigate our inner worlds, explore our longings, and renew our commitment to our goals without distraction. Imagine how many opportunities we miss to connect with our own hearts simply because we shy away from solitude. We fear that silence will confront us with too much, with thoughts we have pushed aside or emotions we don't want to face. But within solitude lies the healing power to reconcile ourselves with the past, to bring clarity to the present, and to create a more purposeful future. It is in those quiet moments that we can heal old wounds, not by covering them up, but by understanding them, by allowing ourselves to feel and process them. Solitude becomes a canvas where we paint the truths we have buried, the dreams we have postponed, and the strengths we didn't know we had. In solitude, our fears lose their grip, and our courage grows. Solitude is also a powerful teacher. In the space of quiet, we learn patience as we sit with our thoughts, and we discover the peace that comes with acceptance. Life, in its rush and endless demands, often leaves us feeling stretched, frazzled, and even fragmented. But solitude teaches us that we are enough as we are. We come to realize that our worth is not defined by our accomplishments, the company we keep, or the roles we play in others' lives. Our worth is intrinsic, woven into the fabric of our very being, and solitude allows us to recognize this. It helps us to find our center and to reconnect with what is truly meaningful. When we embrace solitude, we also cultivate creativity. Away from the distractions of daily life, our minds are free to wander, to imagine, and to create. Ideas flow, solutions emerge, and inspiration blooms in the fertile ground of solitude. Many great thinkers, writers, and artists found their truest selves in moments of aloneness. It's in solitude that we can bring forth our unique gifts, unhindered by the fear of judgment or the need to please others. Solitude provides the time and space for our souls to breathe, to roam, and to find inspiration that's untouched by the noise of the world. When we give ourselves this gift of time alone, we open ourselves to depths of thought and creativity that can transform not just ourselves, but those around us. Solitude is an invitation to self-compassion. As we sit alone, we learn to be gentle with ourselves, to honor our struggles, and to celebrate our victories, however small. We come to appreciate our imperfections and to understand that growth is a journey. Solitude gives us the space to forgive ourselves for the past, to embrace our present self, and to build a more resilient future. It's a reminder that even when we stand alone, we are complete. We are whole. In the embrace of solitude, we can cultivate a life of authenticity, a life that is deeply aligned with who we are and what we value. Solitude is a beautiful paradox. The more comfortable we become with being alone, the deeper our connections with others can be. For in solitude, we develop the strength, clarity, and love within ourselves that we can then share. We learn to be with others not from a place of need or dependence, but from a place of true connection, bringing the best of ourselves to the relationships that matter most. So let us not view solitude as an empty void to be avoided, but as a sanctuary where we meet the most honest, most courageous, and most inspired version of ourselves. Embrace it, cherish it, and discover the unparalleled beauty it holds. Inner companionship. Today we gather to explore a subject that holds the essence of true fulfillment in a companionship. In a world that constantly bombards us with noise, opinions, and expectations, there is one companion who is always there, who listens when no one else can, and who feels every joy, every sorrow, and every single moment of our lives. This companion is our own self. And yet, how often do we forget to acknowledge this constant presence, this deep, unspoken connection within us? Inner companionship isn't just about self-acceptance, it's about creating a genuine, nurturing relationship with ourselves. Imagine having a friend who you could always count on, a friend who understood you even better than you understood yourself. Imagine knowing that no matter what the world might throw your way, you have an unbreakable connection within that grounds you, supports you, and lifts you. This, my friends, is the power of inner companionship, a power that exists within each of us, waiting to be recognized and nurtured. Our inner companion is the one who knows our dreams, our strengths, and our fears. It's the voice that cheers us on when we feel brave, and the presence that stands by us when we feel lost. This inner companionship isn't something we cultivate overnight. It's a journey, a relationship that requires time, patience, and above all, honesty. We live in a society that emphasizes external relationships, urging us to seek approval and validation from others. Yet in doing so, we often overlook the importance of the relationship with ourselves, the one that shapes how we relate to the world. Think about it. If we cannot be at peace within, how can we expect to bring peace to those around us? If we struggle to understand and accept our own emotions, how can we authentically connect with others? Inner companionship is about understanding that the love, trust, and compassion we seek externally must first be cultivated within. We must become our own best friend, our own confidant, our own guiding light. This isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-honoring, of recognizing that we cannot pour from an empty cup. We must first fill our own hearts before we can truly give to others. There will be times when this journey of inner companionship feels challenging. Moments of doubt, moments when the critical voice within speaks louder than the kind one. But remember, every relationship has its ups and downs, and the one we have with ourselves is no different. Instead of letting these moments of self-doubt deter us, let's see them as opportunities to deepen our understanding of who we are. Let's ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? What is my inner companion trying to tell me? By embracing these moments with curiosity instead of judgment, we pave the way for growth, for healing, and for a deeper, more authentic connection with ourselves. Inner companionship also invites us to honor our own path. So often we find ourselves comparing our journey to that of others, measuring our worth by external standards that have little to do with who we truly are. But when we cultivate inner companionship, we begin to understand that our path is uniquely ours. We learn to celebrate our own progress, to find joy in our own victories, no matter how small they may seem to others. We stop seeking approval from the outside world because we know, deep down, that the only validation we truly need comes from within. In moments of solitude, when the world grows quiet, we find the space to connect with this inner companion. It's in these quiet moments that we discover our true self, the self that exists beyond labels, beyond expectations, beyond the roles we play in our daily lives. This self is the essence of who we are, a self that is wise, resilient, and whole. By embracing this inner companionship, we honor our authentic self, allowing it to guide us with clarity, courage, and compassion. Inner companionship is not just a personal journey, it's a pathway to profound transformation. As we learn to stand by ourselves, to be gentle with our own hearts, we become a source of strength and compassion, not only for ourselves, but for the world around us. This relationship within is the foundation upon which we build everything else in life. It is the wellspring from which our love, our resilience, and our purpose flow. So let us cherish this inner companion. Let us take the time to listen, to understand, and to nurture this relationship. For in the end, it is this companionship that will carry us through life's greatest challenges and celebrate with us in life's greatest joys. The dance of interdependence. We live in a world that often celebrates independence as the ultimate achievement. We hear phrases like stand on your own 2 feet, be self-sufficient, and don't rely on anyone else. But today, I want to invite you to look beyond this paradigm and consider something even more profound. Today, let's explore the concept of interdependence, the beautiful dance of life in which we don't just survive by ourselves, but thrive together. Interdependence is a reminder that true strength lies not in isolation, but in collaboration, not in severing ties, but in weaving them stronger. It's in the joining of hands, the shared journey, and the realization that we are indeed connected. Consider nature, our oldest and most honest teacher. Trees do not grow alone, they form entire ecosystems, a vast network of roots that share nutrients, a canopy that fosters life, and a balance that sustains entire forests. The bees and the flowers depend on each other in a delicate dance that has existed since time immemorial, each supporting the survival of the other. And yet, we humans often think we can rise solely by our own merits. We forget that even in our greatest achievements, we are woven into a fabric that binds us to one another. Interdependence doesn't weaken us, it makes us stronger. When we rely on one another, we share resources, wisdom, and strength, making each of us better than we were before. To work together does not mean giving up our individual dreams, rather, it means amplifying them. Imagine a symphony of instruments. Each one on its own can produce sound, but together they create music melodies that are complex, powerful, and moving. Each instrument has its own part to play, and each one is essential to the whole. This is the magic of interdependence. And yet, in this fast-paced world, we are often driven by the desire to prove ourselves, to stand alone as monuments of individual accomplishment. But look closely at the lives of the most successful people, and you will see a common thread. They reached their heights not by standing alone, but by standing with others. They found mentors who guided them, teams who supported them, and loved ones who believed in them. They didn't see interdependence as a crutch, they saw it as a ladder. The more people we lift, the higher we all rise. In relationships, too, interdependence allows us to experience the fullness of connection. To love deeply, we must open ourselves, make ourselves vulnerable, and trust others with our truest selves. Interdependence in relationships means building each other up, finding strength in one another's presence, and knowing that we are stronger together. It is not a weakness to lean on someone else, it is the purest expression of human connection. When we allow ourselves to rely on others and let them rely on us, we become a part of something larger than ourselves, and we feel the richness of life. Yet interdependence is not without its challenges. It requires us to give up a little bit of control, to trust others, and to admit that we cannot do everything alone. It requires patience, understanding, and the willingness to embrace the imperfections of others, just as they embrace ours. But this is what makes us human. It is what makes us grow. Each of us is an unfinished masterpiece, and through our connections with others, we are given the brushstrokes needed to complete our lives. I think about the power of community. A community thrives because each member has something unique to contribute, and each is enriched by the contributions of others. When we come together in community, we share not only resources but also experiences, joys and sorrows. We lift each other up in times of need, celebrate together in times of joy, and stand united in the face of adversity. There is no greater strength than the strength of a community that knows it is bound by a shared destiny. In these bonds, we find the courage to face the challenges of life, knowing that we are not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, interdependence is the very essence of life itself. We are born into families, we grow up in societies, and we form bonds with people who shape us in ways we cannot even begin to measure. We are, each of us, a product of countless acts of kindness, mentorship, and support. When we succeed, it is not solely by our own effort, but by the culmination of all the lives that have touched ours, all the hands that have lifted us, and all the voices that have lifted us, and all the voices that have encouraged us. In this dance of interdependence, there is a rhythm that binds us all. It calls us to move together, to harmonize our steps, and to remember that we are a part of something greater. When we embrace interdependence, we step into a world where possibilities are endless, where strength is multiplied, and where love flows freely. We step into a world where we are truly better together. Uncovering the self. Today we embark on a journey, not an outward journey to some far-off place, but an inward journey, a discovery of the self, a revelation of who we truly are. In this world filled with distractions, comparisons, and constant demands, how often do we pause to uncover the essence of our being? How often do we seek the depth within ourselves beyond the surface of titles, roles, and responsibilities? Today, let us turn inward and uncover the self, the purest, truest part of who we are. When we look within, we meet the raw, unfiltered version of ourselves. We find both strength and vulnerability, confidence and doubt, peace and turmoil. And often we hesitate to confront this part of ourselves because it challenges us. It reveals truths that we might not be ready to accept. But embracing this inner landscape is where true growth begins. It is where authenticity is born. When we confront ourselves fully with all our flaws and all our potential, we stand on the edge of transformation. Each one of us carries unique gifts, talents, and dreams. Yet, as we move through life, we sometimes lose sight of these treasures. We get swept up by societal expectations, by the roles we feel compelled to play, and by the desires of others. But uncovering the self means reconnecting with these forgotten dreams and hidden talents. It means recognizing that beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the pressures to conform, there lies a self that yearns to express, to create, to live authentically. This is a self that seeks not validation but realization, a self that is rooted in purpose, not approval. To uncover the self is to take ownership of our journey. It is about silencing the voices that tell us who we should be and listening to the voice that knows who we are. This voice may be quiet, it may be gentle, but it carries a wisdom that no external validation can replace. It is a voice that guides us toward choices that align with our values, that calls us to live a life of meaning. And when we live in alignment with this inner voice, we find fulfillment, not because we have achieved more, but because we are living more fully, more honestly, more courageously. Uncovering the self also requires that we let go of the fear of being seen for who we truly are. So often we wear masks to fit in, to be liked, to be accepted. But these masks, though they may shield us from judgment, also prevent us from experiencing real connection. When we remove these masks, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to a world where true relationships can flourish, where we can be loved and respected not for who we pretend to be, but for who we truly are. And isn't that what we all yearn for? To be seen, to be known, to be accepted just as we are. This journey of self-discovery is not always easy. It requires courage to look within, to face the parts of ourselves that we may have neglected or denied. It requires strength to accept ourselves fully, flaws and all. But every step we take toward understanding and embracing ourselves brings us closer to a life that is rich with purpose and peace. When we uncover the self, we give ourselves permission to live unapologetically, to pursue what truly matters to us, to contribute to the world in a way that is uniquely ours. So let us dare to go within. Let us seek to understand ourselves not as the world defines us, but as we truly are. And in doing so, let us uncover a depth of strength, compassion, and purpose that we never knew existed. For in uncovering the self, we uncover life itself. We uncover the freedom to be, to grow, to give, and to love in ways that are boundless. This is the journey of self-discovery, the journey of a lifetime, one that each of us has the power to undertake. So I say to you, if you are the woman who finds herself alone, know that you are not lost. You are on a sacred journey of rediscovery. You are, in this moment, uncovering the depths of who you truly are. And when the time is right, when you have fully embraced your own essence, you will find that you no longer need to search for a friend. You will simply become one. And in that moment, you will realize you are never alone. Thank you